Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the October 24th meeting of the North Attleboro Board of Health.
I think it has to wait. Does it have to wait till it's on there?
It was.
Okay.
It was on there a second ago. And now we're going to try it again.
Yes.
Okay. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We'll try this again. And welcome to the October 24th, 2023 meeting of the North Attleboro Board of Health. If you'll join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay, we have no appearances, apparently. We are going to table to the next meeting the report for the Assistant Health Agent. He's dealing with a personal issue. Marie, is anything scintillating in the complaint log? Or?
I have to say just the usual type of things, having the occasional rat complaint, the occasional housing follow-ups. There was a couple of hot water issues, but they actually have both been resolved. One of them, let me see, that's on there. It's actually not on there right now, but there is one that's an ongoing one. So there's obviously plumbing issues. It's been fixed, but then periodically there's an issue again. So Brian has been working hard to close things down. He's going to be away the next 3 days at the MHOA conference. So
Is Rob covering?
well, no, he's going to be at the conference.
Oh, he's going to be there too?
So, yes, so we will try to cover remotely. Usually they'll let us know if there's something. I'll have my work cell, as they will too, so Heather will let us know if there's something that's an emergency. But
Okay. Dan, you have any questions?
Nothing from me.
Okay, moving on. Resident community comment. If you'll come to the microphone, state your name, the reason that you're here.
Sure. Good evening. My name is Rush Patel. I'm owner of Air Brands LLC. We manufacture Natty Hemp Wraps, and I'm here at this meeting on behalf of my company, our retailers in North Attleboro, and consumers who are resident of North Attleboro. And I believe there's a pertinent matter on the agenda further below, so if I could reserve my comment period till then.
That's fine.
that's what I was just going to say. He
Okay.
did explain to me, so I told him he could introduce himself, and you could either take the topic out of order, or he could come back up
Let's
at
see.
that point.
Yeah, we'll keep it in order. It's only going to be a couple of minutes anyway. Thank
I
you.
appreciate
Thanks.
it.
Meeting minutes. I'm all set on the meeting minutes. So whenever you're ready, Dan, if you...
Motion to approve the meeting minutes from our October 10th, 2023 Board of Health meeting.
I'll second that. All in favor?
Aye.
I'd like to read into the record, the department payroll and budget expenditures. I'd like to read into the record the following health department payrolls for pay week ending 10/14/2023, totaling $13,565.96, that was signed by the department head on behalf of the board. Would also like to read into the record the following health department expenditures of $1,163.29, signed on 10/18/2023 by the department head on behalf of the board. Those include $575 out of the Public Health Alliance grant, and a couple of pantry expenditures. Moving on, new business, we'll take those out of order. We'll do the flavored hemp wraps first. Do you want to bring us up to speed, Anne Marie?
Sure, absolutely. So what I have in your packet there, this was just the information from Sarah McColgan, who is the tobacco, she's part of overseeing the tobacco for part of the Southeast and also with Mass MAHB. So a question had been brought to me. One of our retailers who actually spoke on it at the last meeting had wanted to do the flavored hemp wrappers. And so I was under the impression or felt that it was underneath the description for tobacco enhancers. So I reached out to the state and to Cheryl Sabaro with MAHB, and they responded back because that was one of the things there. So I put that in there for clarifications. And as legal had said, that this is something, whether they're considered flavored enhancers, they feel that that it would fit our definition or the definition that we have in our regulations of flavored enhancers. And some are just saying, no, this fits it, and so the sale shouldn't be allowed. And then the other suggestion is that what we could do if the board chose to is that we could also add a definition, which was in there below of rolling papers, and add to flavor enhancers. So, so I put that in there, and I know this gentleman wants to speak to the flavored hemp wraps. So,
Can I just ask a quick question? The current regulations are the ones effective January 1st, 2020?
I'm sorry, I did not include, and I apologize for
okay.
that. I should have had that in there.
But I think
So-
I'm sure
but,
that's the one.
Yes, the most recent.
Pull them off the
Yes.
website, so I just want to make sure.
Yes,
that the
no,
books
it
are
should be, yes.
correct. So I'm here to speak today because in the last few weeks, I've been alerted by a number of our retailers in North Attleboro that the local tobacco control agent, and I'm not sure if I'm using the right, his or her right title, for perhaps 6 to 9 months has been pulling Natty hemp wraps, particularly flavored versions, off their shelves, and has been telling them that they are not to be sold in the town of North Attleboro. We've consulted the regulations, which were effective January 1st, 2020, and happy to be corrected, but well, I guess first of all, I'd like to point out these regulations are related to the sale of tobacco and nicotine products. Our products do not contain any tobacco or nicotine. They're made from fibers of the hemp plant. They do not also contain any cannabinoids, no CBD, no THC, none of that. We've always, as a company, been forthright and tried to work with our local communities to both offer products that our adult consumers want, and at the same time make sure we're being a responsible citizen. So, for example, since our products don't contain any tobacco or nicotine, presumably they could be sold to anybody, yet we mark all the products underage sale prohibited. When we're selling product into a store, we ask that the retailer put it behind the counter. We ask that they inform their clerks, managers, that regardless of what the law is, they should not sell this product to anybody who's underage. So we were, I was a bit flummoxed by this guidance that was given by the tobacco control agent, because consulting the regulations, I don't find anything in there that prohibits the sale, and, you know, this misinformation is obviously affecting the business of our retailers, affecting our business, and on a larger scale, impacting the choices and liberties of our adult consumers. So Ms. Fleming mentioned, you know, that they're considered in your town, I guess, tobacco product flavor enhancers. But in these regulations, I see no mention of tobacco product flavor enhancer, no definition, nothing there. So if you could point it out, I could maybe reply to that. Because even if it were in your regulations, we do not believe, and we've had other municipalities agree with us on this point, that our products are tobacco product flavor enhancers. They expressly state on the packaging, not intended for use with tobacco. They don't contain any tobacco or nicotine. So that was my comment. I mean, I guess the follow-up question would be, you know, why for the past 6 to 9 months has a legal product been taken off the shelves in multiple retailers? And it was troubling to me, and, you know, there's about 13 independent retailers in this town. 10 of them are minority owned, and they're the ones being told they can't sell this. You know, I don't know if it's a little strange to me. Meanwhile, you know, flavoring, it's a trend that has proliferated across product lines. I spent the afternoon in your beautiful town and passed by a liquor store that was advertising Screwball peanut butter whiskey. Chris Gaspara's, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, selling Sunny D spiked alcohol beverage. You have a dispensary in the town, Native Sun, and you walk in there and they've got flavored, they've got, I'll read you off the whole list, flour, pre-rolls with the names Raspberry Skywalker, Papaya Melons, Milk and Cookies, Brownie Scout, which presumably is referring to Girl Scout cookies, Forbidden Skittles, which sounds like Skittles, Smashberry Haze, ice cream cake, creamsicle vapes, edibles, wild cherry gummies, strawberry lemonade beverage mix, juicy mango seltzer. On the flour category, again, cereal milk, and they do us a favor and order them in THC.
I understand your point.
Sorry to take up.
No, that's all right.
Again, I'm just curious why a product that seems legal under your town's regulations, you know, why are retailers being told they can't sell it?
Do you want to respond to that?
Sure, certainly, as you know, that the state of Massachusetts has said that flavored tobacco could not be sold, correct? Right?
Correct, yeah.
Right,
As of 2019.
right. And so part of that is also the emphasis and focus on additional products that would add flavors to tobacco, and that's what the tobacco enhances. And I have to apologize to the board that I didn't realize you were coming. I would have brought the regulations
that's fine.
because our workplace regulations,
Yeah, we have,
smoking.
I mean, we have some time to look at that. so.
Yes,
No, and I don't mean to
but-
put you on the spot. The reason I came urgently was we kept getting calls, and
Right.
you know, as much as we believe in following the letter of the law, we also believe in preserving the rights and liberties of business owners, residents,
Sure.
that sort of thing. And this seemed like a pretty arbitrary overextension of what the current regulations are in your town.
well, if I
And
may.
any change of those regulations seems arbitrary as well, because the intent of these regulations was to control tobacco and nicotine products. And our products are, you know, you pointed out, this concept of tobacco product flavor enhancer. As I mentioned, our products are expressly not intended for use with tobacco, nor are they in reality used for that purpose, so.
So, if I may.
Yes.
So, you know, we recognize how challenging it is for those who are selling those products. And it is something that is being seen as a tobacco enhancer, not just by the town of North Attleboro, I know Mansfield just updated their regulations and specifically added the definitions to target the hemp wraps because it was seen as a loophole. It's challenging, you know, it's never intended to be arbitrary and, you know, trying to address the issues, which is the flavoring of the tobacco or adding enhancing the flavors to the tobacco. So,
Can I ask if the town has received specific complaints, instances where our product has been used with tobacco?
actually, this is in response because our tobacco control inspector had brought it to our attention that it was being sold, or had asked me to look into it. And then I reached out to Sarah Colgan, who's with the state, and also the Cheryl Sabaro, who is the
Yep, I'm
legal.
familiar with.
Yeah, as to ensure that I was viewing this appropriately and making sure that I wasn't being arbitrary about this, so.
Okay. I mean, because you use the key word there, target, right? I mean, and this feels like something, target on a small niche product that's out there. As you know, I mentioned, and I'm not going to go through my list again. I mean, just in general, flavored products, there's a plethora of things out there combined with alcohol, cannabis, etc. And as for the miscategorization of our product as something that is a tobacco product or used in conjunction with a tobacco product is incorrect. I mean, I think prior to the meeting started, I pointed out, under that definition, the town of North Attleboro should be banning, and this is ludicrous, but should be banning a wide variety of common household products: honey, maple syrup, cognac at the liquor store, rum. Literally anything down in baked goods aisle can be used by a smoker, a tobacco smoker, if they want to apply or add flavor to their cigarettes, cigars, whatever the case may be. And I'm not trying to be glib here, but
Except that you are, because in truth, the only really two things that your product can be used for is to flavor marijuana or tobacco.
Mhm.
That is its only use.
No, there's only
All-
one use, to
all of-
flavor cannabis, to be rolled cannabis or legal herbs.
That,
It's
again,
never intended for use with tobacco.
Right.
Just one
And-
use.
and, okay, I'm not even gonna respond to that.
Yeah.
It's just, I understand your point. We are not, we're actually not voting on this regulation tonight. There are a couple of things that.
And I apologize for the passion. I mean, this is my
No,
livelihood. This is the
I get it.
livelihood of
I understand,
15 business
understand.
owners in the city, and sometimes that makes me a little passionate, especially when, and I really, do admire the steps the towns and the state has taken to cut tobacco and nicotine usage. And we're all aware of the deleterious health effects of that.
Mm.
So that's what I'm suggesting, but you're lumping in something that does not contain tobacco or contain nicotine, and really, in all reality, is not used in conjunction with tobacco, seems like throwing the baby out with the bathwater. We hear from a lot of our customers who use our non-tobacco, non-nicotine hemp wraps, use herbs, and I'm not even talking about cannabis here, but spearmint, mullein root, etc. And they were previously smokers. They are no longer smoking tobacco or nicotine. Now, I'm of the opinion you probably shouldn't be smoking anything because there's carcinogenic effect to anything as eating barbecue. But on the spectrum of risk, a lot of those people contact us, and some neighboring communities in North Attleboro, and thank us for creating a product that does not contain nicotine. So, I just want the board to be cognizant of that,
Okay.
and cognizant of the marketplace reality of what the product is. And that's what I'm referring to as just an arbitrary blanket mischaracterization of the product. So thank you for the opportunity to speak.
Again, we appreciate your coming to speak to us and to show us your side of this situation. It is helpful.
No, and I'm happy to provide any clarification. Like I said, we like to be a responsible citizen and engage. Maybe some people don't like the type of products we sell, but the Commonwealth of Massachusetts voted overwhelmingly in support of allowing the sale of cannabis.
Agreed.
Mr. Chairman? if I-
Yes, absolutely.
So what is the official intended proper use of your product?
For the use with cannabis in the states where it's legal, as well as any legal herbal blends.
And,
Which in some states include hemp, and in all 50 states, various herbal mixes that have been sold for decades.
and are all of your products labeled and packaged as such, stating
They
they're
state-
intended?
Not intended for use with tobacco,
Okay.
to be perfectly clear, and they're also labeled no tobacco, no nicotine,
Okay.
as far as the contents go.
Oh.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thought you were gonna be out of the country.
I actually literally just came last night. I had to change everything
Yeah.
around because I wanted to be here.
I was going to ask how the trip was. I feel like we're getting friendly
Yeah, I
now.
went to Turkey. It was pretty good. Yeah. I was late because the time lag is sleepy right now.
All right. So next on our agenda is the noise regulation.
So, Mr.
I
Chairman,
don't
if
mean to
I-
be disrespectful, but cut out at this moment.
Oh, yeah,
Oh, yeah.
absolutely. Thank you for your
Thank you.
time.
Thank
Appreciate
you
it.
all. And my email address is there if you have any follow-up questions.
All right,
Thank you.
great.
Thank you.
Anne Marie.
Mr. Chairman, yeah, if I may, the only reason for putting that in there is just wanted to, it had been brought to my attention that we had a resident who had called. They were having an issue with construction start, and they had said that the state had changed the regulations. And I have to apologize, I thought I would have time to look more in depth to find any changes in the state's regulations. I could not. So it's really, unnecessary to address this at the time, other than to make you aware, that it may be, if the board wants to take into consideration. But as you know, we certainly don't have to change our regulations if they are more stringent.
Right. Yeah, and off the top of my head, I would suggest that we leave our regulation alone.
Okay.
And, I mean, we do have the ability to grant variances on pretty much everything that we do. So if someone has a specific problem, they can come to us and we can look at the situation and deal with it one case at a time.
Sure.
I don't think in general that we really want to bother to change that. But, I mean,
Thank you.
we can always look at it again in the future.
Absolutely, thank you.
You're welcome. Old business. So in response to your concern about a regulation covering a multitude of things, Anne Marie has, well, I'll let Anne Marie explain it because she can probably do a better job than I can.
So we currently did have an older regulation that spoke to synthetic marijuana and similar cannabimimetics. try to say that
That's
3
a
times
heck of a word.
I
fast.
can't even say
I-
it
That
once.
is a heck of a
I
word.
practiced saying that. It's so much easier to say synthetic cannabinoids. But this was the term that was used at that time. So that was back in 2013, and that was when you were beginning to see a proliferation of products with Delta 8 and things in retail stores, in drinks and other products. And so it was a problem at that time, so the board did, Bob Davis was the director at that time, and he did a very in-depth with a lot of chemical delineations.
Yeah.
Challenging. So the proposal, if the board, would find favorable, and I know we're down a board member, so we probably won't actually deliberate on anything, was to modify the regulation so that it would be more inclusive. So it wasn't just food-related establishments, that it would be all establishments. So what I did was that the regulation, the older regulation, if there was a change, like a removal or a change, I put a line through, and any language that was in the other regulations regarding synthetic cannabinoids, I put into this current regulations with the footnotes, just to put that information there, thinking that we could use a current regulation, which really fits, it does speak to the synthetic cannabinoids. And I know, through, I'm supposed to say, right, through the chairman to Dan, that I know he had mentioned that, Massachusetts does speak to the Delta 8, but that's primarily because right now it's a controlled substance. And then there's Delta 10, which is another synthetic cannabinoid. And the only concern is that, do we want to just keep it more globally as the synthetic cannabinoids versus targeting specific? And if the board feels that it's necessary to do that, so. So that's for your review, because I'm sure, and if there's any questions at this time or later, if the board wants to reach out.
Okay. And as I said earlier, because we're short one member, I don't think we want to be voting on particular
I'm okay with
regulations
that,
at
yeah.
this time.
Correct.
Um,
Correct. And then also in the packet, I just put some proposed regulations depending on the board's feelings as had been discussed or mentioned. So there are two. One was actually the old one with taking out the synthetic cannabinoids, which is the prohibition of the manufacture, sale, and distribution of kratom regulations. And then the second one is a restriction, which specifically speaks to that it would be the adult, it would be solely sold in the adult retail tobacco stores to adults aged 21 or older. And as Dan, Mr. McMahon mentioned, under the definitions, I did put in red law enforcement officers if the board wants to remove that. It's not necessary, like I said, I only put that in there because they have been. But actually, the board can at any time designate someone as an agent of the board, and it would be applicable to that, so. So that's there for your review, and perhaps, if the board has questions or discussions or anything.
Personally, I don't have any questions at this point. That I mean, those are the two options basically that we discussed.
Yeah.
And, I still think that we need to think about this some more, probably look up whatever other information that we can find. I know I'm gonna take this stuff that you put in the back of the pack
Oh, yes.
take that home and go through
And
that.
maybe I should make an official mention of that.
You can do that.
So we did have, yesterday, we did receive a call from the American Kratom Association. The gentleman who had called had asked if he could appear, speak at the meeting, and we told him he certainly could at the resident and community comment at that time. But he was out of town and had asked about a virtual meeting, and I had to explain to him that we couldn't put him on as an appearance by himself because the agenda was already set, and we couldn't add in a virtual component because the agenda was posted. But, certainly that could happen at another time, but he asked if he could send information, so he did. He sent a letter, and we said that, we'd make sure that the board had that, and I have a copy for Dawn I can drop off as well. And he has a letter in there addressing this, and that's Mac Hadow, Senior Fellow from the American Kratom Association. So these were the two that he had asked for the board, for the information for the board.
Anything else, Dan, do you want to bring up at this time?
No, not at the moment.
Do we want to ask Sakshi? I don't know if he has anything
No, I
else to
don't
say.
want.
My only thing is like, we're
No,
running,
no,
sorry.
gotta make it
Say
official.
anything, you gotta say
Yeah,
who you
my
are.
only thing is, we're running low on products, so I'm like scared at the same time, like, do we order or like, do we not order? So I'm in that boat currently, and yeah, so like, that's my only concern.
Yeah.
Well, again, I appreciate your situation. But I know that, as I stated earlier, you might not have been here, but, excuse me, being that we're down a member tonight, I really don't want to take a vote on a regulation like this. I would much rather have all three of us here. And I am not going to give you business advice because I'm really bad at that. So. But again, we do appreciate the amount of time that you've spent.
Yeah.
And again, just for the record, since you did stand up and come to the mic, please state your name so that the rest of the...
Sakshi, Cigar City, 540 Kelly Boulevard.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, also just to go back on the flavored hemp wrap part, Anne-Marie mentioned about Mansfield. We actually just got a letter today from Plainville, because I have business in Plainville, which is the next town, because they sent in the renewal letters. So there was specifically mentioned about the hemp wraps, because I know in that town they do not let my convenience store sell it, but they do let the smoke shop sell it, because it's considered a marijuana accessory, so they are putting it in that. So I just wanted the board to know that. I believe I got this information back in the day also from Shelley. I believe she used to be a North Attleboro tobacco compliance
Health
inspector.
agent.
Yeah, back in the day. Yeah. So that just let you know.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, Anne Marie, I guess you are up. You have a public health nurse's report, an annual report, flu shots, COVID updates. Got a lot of stuff.
Very little. I'll be done in a blink of an eye.
Oh, come on,
Blink
promises,
of an eye.
promises.
So the report, just, very basic. There's a large number of communicable diseases that were reported. It's varied, but not a large number of cases. So, Lyme, of course, we're at the end of the season. We have our first influenza case of the season, so Not that there's been a large number, at this, it's still very, very, very mild. The challenge is that the medical community, when someone has symptoms, they don't know if it's flu, COVID, or RSV for older or younger. So that's actually the only way that we're getting reported COVID cases, because they're testing for everything, and some of them are coming out. I do have to make a correction. I noticed, so underneath the COVID deaths, it's actually 94. That increased by 1 in August. There was 1 additional COVID-related death. But let's see, what else? Lots of phone calls and way too many emails.
Is that email number actually legitimate?
It's probably low, seriously.
Really?
Seriously.
Oh, my God.
It's literally been a challenge. I get anywhere from 200 and something to 300 plus emails a day. Now, I can delete probably a third of them.
But that's still a lot, and you have to do that.
It is.
Yeah.
But there's just so much going on, and there's a lot of association with other groups and meetings, and
Right.
so, yeah, keeps me busy.
Oh, boy.
I'd like to say I'm kept out of trouble because I'm so busy.
Can we get you an assistant?
I know. Well, certainly, but, yeah. They'd be like, oh, well, you have to answer this. Well, I can't answer this for you. Oh, this is yours.
Well,
I mean, I do get a lot of help. I do.
I was gonna say, even if all they did was sort through the ones that you
Yeah.
actually have to
And
deal
go
with.
delete.
Yeah,
I know,
I mean-
that's and what it is, it's actually hard because a lot of it is health information that normally I'd like to read about, public health related.
Right.
But when you
Right.
get that many, it's like,
Yeah.
some I save for later. Well, I probably have 1,000.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I have a feeling I'm never going to get there.
Yeah.
So just, there's a listing of meetings that occurred in September. So very much enjoyed that, the block party. I want to say that, that Dan was the initiator and was support for that, and we were able to get
Thank
the fentanyl test kits out, and plus assorted public health brochures on ticks, and
those
we
cards
had
were
tick cards.
popular.
Yeah.
Have to say that was one of those. It was like, here, have a tick card, and while you're here, do you want to know about hurricanes, or do you need to, know somebody that could use a fentanyl test kit? But we made a great relationship with the Safe Coalition,
Oh, good.
who was giving out free Narcan kits.
Oh, wow.
Free. Yeah,
Wow,
she
that's
gave out
amazing.
a lot.
Wow,
So,
that's excellent. I see Kim's been staying busy too, huh? Or are
um,
these, or that just, actually she is, I see that. Oh, okay. I see
no,
it's there,
there
but-
is, yeah. No, there actually should be numbers there.
Oh, okay.
But I didn't get into the database to do that,
That's
so.
fine. But she's been
She
staying busy?
absolutely, yes,
There you
yes.
go.
No, she's been on top of, so all these communicable diseases, I can't take any credit for that, and I should say that, because she's the one that's doing the follow-ups for all these. So the ones with the stars are the ones that don't require any follow-up. We
Yeah.
just merely note it,
Mhm.
and document it and go in. But the Vibrio, that's with shellfish. She has to call, find out what kind of food, where they think they ate. Legionellosis, that's, all these require a good amount of time calling and following up and giving guidance as well. So,
Oh, good.
combination of tick-borne and food-related, so. All the things we usually see an uptick with the
Yeah.
good weather, cookouts
Yeah.
and
Right.
hikes, right,
Yeah.
on the hills,
Yeah.
so.
Is that,
That's it,
That's
that's it,
it?
it's, yeah,
All
no,
right.
no, that's it. As far
I'll
as my
accept the
report.
motion.
Motion to accept the public health nurse report for September 2023.
I'll second that motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, moving on.
I believe that, Mr. Chairman, that you had something you wanted to bring up.
Oh, I do. I have been thinking about this for quite a while now, and I think I probably should stop thinking about it and make some attempt to move in that direction. I really think this board needs 5 members. So I would, I will make the time to find out exactly what we need to do to make that change. If that requires a charter change, which I have a feeling it might, that will mean that we will have to gather signatures. And so that means I'll have to find some volunteers, because this number of people will never gather that many signatures, but we can work on it. But I just think that it would be helpful to have a wider range of experience on the board. And it would give us a little bit more flexibility as far as being able to talk to at least one other member about something without risking a violation of an open meeting law. And, you know, between my work schedule, some health issues, you know, it's tough when there's only 2 folks here to run a meeting. It's just, I think we'd be better off if we could operate with 5 members. So I'm going to start looking into that and see what it's going to entail, and we will go from there and come back with some information.
Is that something we would vote on, or how does that
well,
work to like move forward?
I suppose, again, I suppose that we could vote on it. I'm not sure that, you know, until we really know what we need to do, what's going to be required, maybe at that point we could do that. At this point, it's an idea. And I just think that the board, that the department would be better served by a larger board. Again, my opinion, I don't think I'm alone, but
You're not.
okay, then I'm not alone. So
Yeah.
I just think that we would be more efficient and better informed if we had a wider base of experience.
And I think, Mr. Chairman, it also allows committees, right?
Exactly,
So to
yeah.
investigate and bring back information for the board.
Right.
You know, that might be helpful
It
in
would be.
situations, you
Right.
know, such as
Because-
we've been having. Right,
Right, and because now, if we have 2 of us on the committee, that's a quorum,
correct.
and that creates an issue. So.
All right, I think it makes a lot of sense.
All right. Okay.
I'll gather signatures.
Yeah, yep. Oh. Well, voluntold spouses, that's what
Yeah.
happens usually.
Yep.
But, so
Yeah,
as far
that's a
as
good
other
idea.
topics, they're, you know, unless there's another item not anticipated?
No.
Okay. I just wanted to just make mention that we're in the process of compiling the annual report. It's that time. I actually have to get the numbers and statistics by Monday. If I know.
Hey, aren't you going to
Away for 2 days, I
be
know.
gone for the rest of this week?
Yes, and actually, you know, Joan does her part and she, you know, compiles her statistics. So a good portion of it is just fitting things into place. But, you know, to be mindful of it takes a little bit more. So just wanted to make you aware that that's in the process. Flu shots, just want to make mention. I do have flu vaccine. I actually have been using that new setup. There's a mechanism where I can send a link to people and they can register and put themselves into that. So it makes it much faster, and not using paper forms, which is very hard for me because I'm a
I know
paper
you-
person, as
you're-
you know,
you're a
by the
paper person.
proliferation of handouts and everything. So I am struggling with that a little bit, but, you know, it's the way to go. So people are able to find out when there's walk-in times, and then some clinics that are being done. And then COVID, just, all to say on that is just people to be aware. We still have a good number of those eye health testing kits. We have a lot, actually. They expire November 19th. I did receive the shipment of the ones after that, so after November 19th, we will have other test kits that we will be able to get out to people. And I think I mentioned there's five in a box instead of 2.
Oh,
So no one will get 2 boxes, they'll get a box, because there's 5 tests
Right.
in there. But
Good.
just, you know, people to be mindful of it. There's a lot of colds going around,
yes, there are.
a lot of colds. But, you know, if they have the test kit, then it's not usually a problem just to check to make sure it is just a cold. So just want to let people know that. And that's all I have.
All right. Dan, you have anything to add?
No?
I do not either, therefore I will accept the motion.
Motion to adjourn, or,
All in favor?
aye,
Aye.
At 6:46.
at 6:46.
You- Motion to adjourn.
Is it-
all you
that's
gotta
all we
say.
need?
Yeah. It's my responsibility to find out the time.
Although I guess we're still alive.
Yeah.
Yeah. They'll shut it down.
You're still on the microphone's
Yes.
There you go.
I
There we
fig-
go.
I figured that out when I looked up.
And went, ooh.
Did you switch? Thanks, Mark. You're all set?